What's up, Mighty Fam? This is the very first Mighty podcast, and today I have Invincible One with me. He is a Twitch affiliate who started out with a Facebook group called Tough Skin Comics. He basically built his brand there, and from there he is now a full-time streamer. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Anyways, so jumping right into it, I just kind of wanted to go over your thoughts on the Twitch affiliate program and basically your journey, essentially. I don't know if this would be considered an interview or a podcast, but...
Both. Column A, column B.
Yeah, column A, column B. So, what inspired you to start Tough Skin Comics, or
yeah? So,
what drove you to want to get into that?
So, I've always been a passionate fan of comic books. You know, ever since I was a little kid. Got into it probably by starting to watch, like, as a real little kid, like the 1940s serials of like the Golden Age Superman, where he used to fight giant robots and monsters before he was as crazy. You know, back when he was, faster than a locomotive, capable of jumping over a building in a single bound. Not, because the original Superman couldn't fly, but my love for comics just kind of has been something that's been with me my whole life, and getting on Facebook, becoming involved in the comic book community there's such a robust fan base. And over time, I just was invited to become moderator and an administrator in different Facebook groups in that community. And from there, I was generating a lot of content. I started out really heavily in the versus battle community. And for those of you who aren't familiar, one of the things that comic book fans who are really hardcore love doing is arguing over who would win in a fight, obviously. And right. So in that versus battle community, I rose up and, by taking part in tournaments and arguing my head out, and eventually became involved with some guys who wanted to go about creating our own content. That's where Tough Skin Comics came from. And through working together, people trying to generate content, I found that after about 2 years of generating content, mostly like versus battles and little memes and stuff, I was actually starting to get a little burnt out, honestly. And I was thinking about tendering my resignation, but at the time, one of my colleagues, who's another co-creator in Tough Skin Comics, was doing every once in a while, he'd have some free time and he'd hop on a live stream and he'd do a little segment called Drinking with the Bat, where he would wear a Batman mask and he'd get drunk and just be goofy. And something about that appealed to me. So I decided one day to just, put on a kettle, and I made some tea, and I got in front of a camera and I just started talking. Like, I was very upfront the whole time. Like, this idea was just this, just an experiment, just to see what would happen, and in having a live conversation with people about the stuff that I'm passionate about. And from there, it just sort of continued to grow. And it was really unexpected the way that it grew for me. I can't say that I was really into watching other streamers before I got into doing it myself. For the most part, I would maybe watch a YouTube video or something like that. Guys like Rob from Comics Explained or Benny the Comic Historian were entertaining for sure, but I would never sit down and spend 2 or 3 hours in somebody's chat with a stream. But after I started doing it myself and I started making these connections with people, I started to kind of understand more about streaming and getting more involved in kind of the unique art form that streaming represents. And probably about a little over a year into streaming on the Facebook groups, people told me that they thought that I should go solo and do build my own brand about, So when I started investigating different options, of course, Twitch had ascended to this position of being the most successful, most popular, most well-recognized streaming platform on the internet. Which and I decided to kind of jump into it. I had to take some time, to collect different, upgrades to my audio and video stuff, but I wanted to present a quality product that was important to me. And I didn't really officially start working on Twitch until I think it was October of last year was my first official Twitch stream. I had taken some time out from the job I was doing, um, and I was working on a bunch of different projects. I was very overloaded at the time, but it was really important to me to get onto Twitch, to see what I could do with that. And it was really remarkable how quickly things came together for me. I can't say that my journey on Twitch is what I would call the average person's experience in streaming, but I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I had spent a little over a year on Facebook doing streaming.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the work you put into creating Tea Time on Tough Skin Comics probably gained you a following, gained you a brand recognition as far as hopping over to Twitch. Because I don't know if you've ever just hopped on Twitch and browsed the streams that are out there, but if you're not already well known or have some type of following prior to getting on Twitch, you're not going to get discovered. It is not a discoverable platform, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
it was definitely a challenge. One of the things that I was really worried about when I was changing platforms was whether or not I could carry my fan base with me. I think probably I started recognizing the unique nature of the community that was sort of building around me, and I was very protective of it. I was very specific with how I cultivated the community that I have found myself like blessed to be a part of. And on Facebook, it started off with like a lot of versus battle guys who wanted to talk about who would win in a fight between Silver Surfer and Thor, or Hulk and Superman, stuff like that. Just the regular expectation you'd have being on pages in that community. But over time, it evolved, bringing in people who were movie fans, people who were anime fans, people who were into video games, and it just got more diverse as time went on. Changing platforms from one Facebook group to another was a big jump, but there was a lot of overlap in the community at that point, so I didn't have to worry about it. But the big jump between going from Facebook to Twitch was kind of the biggest thing for me. And I had maybe I would say that on average I was receiving probably about 20 to 30 simultaneous active viewers at any given point in time when I was streaming on my Facebook platforms. And among the people who were in the channel, I had a group that I referred to as the Friends of the Show. The Friends of the Show were the people who were there most consistently. I'd seen them at least 3 times. I was getting to know them on a regular basis, learning about their lives, which again was really special. And I think that's one of the main things that kept people coming back, was that interest that I took in them as people, and building that community and telling them, you guys are my friends, and taking it seriously. We had a small fan page group that had about 35, 40 of the really hardcore people who were really into the show. And so I spent maybe like 2 months prepping them. I think that was one of the biggest things, was I gave them a lot of time to kind of adjust. I let them know ahead of time. I told them this is what's going to happen. I used the tools that I had available through the Facebook group that was the fan page, and was also reaching out to other people in my network of people who I knew through the community playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, and just my Facebook friends in general, telling them, hey, look, I'm getting ready to go do this thing. It would be really great if you guys could support me, because doing research, one of the things that I did, I don't know if everybody does it, but Twitch offers something called the Creator Boot Camp, where they kind of explain the process of becoming a Twitch streamer and what it takes to reach the status of affiliate. You need I think it's something like 45 is like the golden number of followers to get affiliate status, and from there you can start running ads and getting subscribers who pay a small fee. You unlock a certain number of emotes that you can have as sort of rewards for your people who subscribe. And for me, I was lucky when I first came over to Twitch. I took it slow. I didn't jump right into streaming. I spent some time going into the streams for people who were going to play the games that I was going to play. So I had tested out gaming while doing my show on Facebook before I moved, just to kind of get a feel for it. And I knew that I was going to play because it was in the comic book genre. So I picked DC Universe Online as the first game I was going to play. So I spent some time kind of checking out other streamers in the DC Universe community and kind of making friends with them before I started streaming seriously. And when I first sat down for my first DCU stream, I think by the time I'd already gotten there, I had already front loaded about 25 followers when I first got on. So I didn't have as much work to do as everybody else because people were following me through the links that I was providing on Facebook, which, like you said before, was really useful. The work that got front loaded in, I had already been streaming for about a year and I want to say 7 or 8 months by the time I turned on the camera for the first time getting on Twitch. So that made a big difference. And I think going beyond that point where I'm at now, where I think I just broke 200 followers on Twitch, but it's kind of, there's sort of an irony to it. When I first moved, Mike, that was like a preface to get to this point. My biggest concern was how many people am I going to carry over? And honestly, I retained roughly half of my Facebook audience going from Facebook to Twitch.
That's pretty
And
impressive.
what wound up being the key to my success on Twitch was actually getting involved in those communities in the game I was playing before I started streaming. I was getting involved with like 3 or 4 of the people who had the highest view counts playing DC, getting to know them, just enjoying the company of the chat. And then finally, when I was ready to turn on the camera, I had people who were willing to give me shout outs. And that, for me, the networking on Twitch was actually a bigger contributor to my overall success of where I am now, as opposed to just the quick bump I got to affiliate. And I know people who have spent a significant amount of time trying to get to that status. And this isn't a flex, this is just a statement of fact. I went from stream number 1 to the stream where I reached affiliate was a total of 13 days.
That's insane, honestly. I haven't heard of anyone else being able to do that.
I'm sorry?
I said I haven't heard of anyone else being able to do that.
Yeah, my wife managed to do it about 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later. She and I started around the same time. About 2 weeks later, she hit affiliate status as well.
Do you think she kind of piggybacked off your success, or
she definitely she definitely benefited from us all working together? But I would say that a little, not quite a year into my streaming, she started doing it as well. So we had an overlapping fan base functionally. The people who had originally been picked up by my shows were watching all the shows on the Facebook platforms, one of which was hers. And I would also have her co-host on my show. Once I was streaming like 3 times a week, and I'd have her on maybe 2 to 3 times a month. So the fan base was very familiar with her, and a lot of people really just enjoyed the content that she was putting out solo. And of course, there was a great dynamic whenever we worked together, particularly in the talk show format.
Cool. Is there any other games you got your eyes on as far as like future streaming content, or are you trying to stick to the same types of games to build your fan base through those games?
I would say that the DC Universe Online community has been very good to me. It would be disingenuous to say that, just based purely off the analytics that are available on Twitch, that the vast majority of the people who come to watch my show are coming to watch me when I'm playing that particular game. And the reason that they're doing that is because I very frequently, I receive raids from people like Sophie Fatal TV, from Face Check TV, from No Name Found DCU streamers who I made really quick friends with them, and there was just something. I think there's just something to it. I feel like I got really lucky. Like I can't stress that enough. That a luck was a big factor in this. Finding these people who are just really genuine, honest, hardworking people who are passionate about community, and I think that that's really the key to success is just a passion for community. And I really hit the jackpot, frankly, um, with these people who have been so supportive, throwing followers my way, hosting multi streams with me, uh, and I'm so grateful for all of that. And as far as the games go, I didn't stay within DC right away. I was streaming both DC and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and I've had some moderate success from the card game, but not nearly anything like I've had with DC. And honestly, when I finally did bring the talk show format into Twitch, I was really pleased with how well it went over. With the tools available to me through Twitch streaming and using Streamlabs OBS. I was able to start um, reading comics, digital comics, with my fan base, which is something I'd wanted to do for a long time. And the response was just really big. Even with the people who were unique to Twitch, I like I said, I only brought over about half my fan base. About 10 to 15 really loyal individuals came with me and have been regular viewers. And some of them really only watch when I'm doing the talk show format. The vast majority of the other people are coming straight from Twitch when I do play a game. But it's really been about, for me streaming has always fundamentally been about, like, an experiment in community building, and I think that when I'm focused on that aspect of it is when I see the most success. The highest number of people are interested, when the chat is engaged, because I'm not a skillful gamer. As part of the process of being a streamer and trying to, like, learn about the art form in itself, I've sort of discovered I have, like, this understanding of there's fundamentally, like, two kinds of streamers. There's the streamer that is an incredibly skillful player of a specific game. They turn on the camera to play the game, and everybody comes to watch them because they're interested in seeing high skill gameplay. Right. Whereas there's people who are in the vein that I consider myself to be. I'm not necessarily a skillful gamer. I'm not somebody who's been playing DC Universe Online for 7 to 10 years and has every single feat and skill point available. Especially now, since everybody's locked inside and there's no pro sports, people have been turning to pro gaming. That's been particularly on the rise. But then there's the entertainer. Is the other type.
Speaking on that, hold on. Yeah. I don't want to. Speaking on that, have you seen, like, an influx of people viewing your channel from the COVID incident? Has that
I wouldn't say. I don't think I would say that's the case. I don't think that it's increased my viewer base necessarily, but there's definitely more people playing the game itself. I've noticed it's very easy to find people to queue with randomly.
Has it decreased your player base or your viewer base?
It has not.
Because of the influx of people getting on?
I would say it has not. Okay. I don't think that the lockdown situation has necessarily increased or decreased my base of viewers. I have seen an increase in the base of viewers of it maybe not. It's not like a net zero thing. I think maybe a small fraction of an increase. It's not like statistic. I don't know that I would say it's statistically significant. But when I get rated by some of the larger channels, a couple months ago you had maybe 30, 40 people watching them, and now you're seeing much higher numbers, 40, 50, 60, 70 people watching at peak viewing hours, and then they'll bring 30 people with them where they might have been bringing 15 before, and hopefully you can convert those people to followers. But subscribers has been down, the number of subscribers, and that's just because people are worried about their finances. But follows have been okay. I can't say that it's been a windfall, but I also think at the same time that as far as games go, DC Universe Online doesn't have a massive fan base. There's a lot more people who are interested in the game in the EU than there are in North America. The amount of time it takes to edit and upload and convert is something that I don't have, honestly, at this time. I stream for usually 4 to 6 hours at a time on and that really eats up a large chunk of time between that and my other responsibilities. So YouTube has been something that I'm not keen on. The other reason is I'm not a big fan of what YouTube's been doing lately as far as content creation goes, and the way that they organic reach everywhere has been next to zero lately. But I feel like on YouTube particularly is almost penalizes you for being a new content creator, as opposed to somebody who started on YouTube maybe a decade ago.
Right. Well, I feel like YouTube's almost kind of like the long play. You know,
It really
whereas...
is. It really is. You have, but at the same time, the way that the YouTube algorithm works, you have to be on the bleeding edge of new content constantly. You have to be constantly creating it, and it gets to the point where even in a community like DC Universe Online, for example, Obsidian Chill and No Name Found are probably the main two names in that area, and in a fandom that's relatively small like this one, you're not going to break out into that and draw away views in a significant fashion. You would not be you would likely, if you're going to be on YouTube, you're going to have to find a way to really differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I've been doing some research on it, and I did have like one somewhat viral video on my page, and basically I just had seen something on Facebook, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. It was like a live stream of this girl driving, or they were running away from the cops. And the way that her live stream was set up was she had two separate live stream clips where she had like cut it. And so I was like, well, why don't I add those videos together and post it as like a full video release of this live stream, so if people are trying to find it or whatever, they get the whole story right there. And so I posted that and got like 50,000 views on it.
Well, first of all, congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly insane, but just seeing that and translating it into, is it like viable content for my page? Not really,
Sure.
That's not who I am. Now yeah. I could do video commentary on videos like that, which I did try and do that for another video that I had found. But a lot of these kind of videos, they get picked up by news outlets and other media sources, and people watch that video over mine. So, is it viable to try and basically be a news outlet without being a news outlet? I'm not really sure yet, but I don't know.
That's really interesting, like the meta news, like a sort of meta critic of the news.
Right. I did, like I said, I did another video like that where I basically commentated on another experience that I had seen, and it ended up getting like 800 views, so that wasn't too bad in comparison to the major news outlets that had like 1 million views on the same video. So
right. Well, one of the things that I do like about YouTube, I know that I kind of talk down on it. One of the things I do like about YouTube, particularly versus Facebook, for example, is that Facebook will count any 3-second view as a view. And that doesn't matter if you just scroll past something and you stop on it for 3 seconds, even if you haven't clicked it, even if it's on autoplay, it will count as a view. But on YouTube, they only count views that are clicked to view. So that you're getting more genuine information about how actively engaged people are with your content on YouTube than you are on something like on Facebook.
Right. Well, I think I think both Facebook and YouTube have like the longevity aspect to it. Facebook's got the full community. You got people on there 24/7 scrolling through Facebook, and then
Yeah, absolutely.
YouTube, people are going on there for any type of content that they want to find. Whereas, Twitch and Mixer, those are very curated gaming platform type, streams. So unless you are looking for that specific type of content, you're not going to go to somewhere like Twitch or Mixer.
Yeah, I think it's interesting actually to watch how Facebook has tried to sort of like mimic the template of Twitch. I know that they've been pushing Facebook gaming a lot lately. Like the mobile app has its own tab for it. Like you go straight to gaming.
Right.
And they've been doing what they can. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't know about as far as growing your reach on Facebook or even Twitch is that there are actually a number of groups on Facebook that you can post links to. There are groups out there, follow groups. This is something I learned in sales. I used to sell furniture. I know this sounds lame, but when I was selling furniture, we actually used to go on to buy and sell groups and post links and pictures of our products post on Facebook Marketplace, on upsell, just any old let go. You post it everywhere, and really, for people who want to just pick it up and try to run with it, who don't have the advantage of having been part of communities like me to build up from those like safety nests. Those groups are kind of the next best operation that you can try to your best to pick up follows and grow from there. Reaching out and just having your friends make Twitch accounts, even if they're never going to watch you, trying to get the follows. There are, the 45 followers is just one of 3 criterion for becoming an affiliate on Twitch. You also have to have at least 3 concurrent viewers on average in a 30-day period, and you also have to stream. I think it's like 7 unique days in a or maybe like 12. Maybe it's 12 unique days in like a 30-day period. Most people can believe the follower count is actually the most difficult to complete, but in my experience, actually, from what I've seen from other people, it's actually the concurrent viewership is the most difficult of all of the criteria to complete.
Well, I think in that sense, YouTube has a similar monetization platform where you have to have, I believe it's 4,000 hours watched and 1,000 subscriptions to even get ads running on your videos.
Yes. To be monetized, you have to have 1,000 subs. It's a very high bar.
Yeah, that's
very high
that's
bar.
Pretty high for. Person. Yeah, exactly.
I remember when the Yu-Gi-Oh group that I was with, when we finally hit 1,000. That was after a lot of work, grinding out. And again, that was networking. The group the team that I was part of, we managed over a dozen groups on Facebook for that card game, specific archetypal strategy groups. And we used those as mediums for advertising. And that's, since paid reach is the only way to really successfully, to really put nitro fuel in any growth strategy, is to use paid reach. The organic stuff, you have to have these obscure areas that you can drop your links in, and that's what those Facebook groups are doing, is helping people accomplish those things. And really, I mean, Facebook biases their own platform. If you're streaming on Facebook, you can just post your link directly to those groups and people will be watching you, which is pretty great for people who are trying to go through the Facebook route. But I'll tell you this, in my experience, Facebook viewers are actually pretty fickle creatures. They don't like to leave Facebook. That's like the only thing that they want to do is scroll on Facebook. And one of the dangers of Facebook is the doom scroll. You have people who will watch, and then they'll watch you for, like I said, 3 seconds, 3 minutes, and then they'll scroll away. and you won't have that longevity of engagement. You know, one of the things that I noticed when I first started streaming was that um, compared to some of the other shows that were going on, they had more views overall, but I had longer periods of engagement. And I found that that was really critical in helping me succeed on Twitch later on, is that idea that people were engaging for longer periods. There weren't as many people getting on board, but the robust nature of the length of their engagement was actually a benefit to me in the long run. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I was getting to know them on a first name basis, having conversations with them, asking them what's going on in your life. What are you doing? I had one guy who was going into the military, and we were talking about that for a couple months leading up to him going to boot camp, and another person talking about her and her kids and what was going on with them. And, you know, people asking for relationship advice, or, you know, have one guy who's a veteran who knows all sorts of random factoids about military history. And you know, a lot of people, you know, and sometimes he just drop random factoids, and I'd sit there and I'd read them out. It didn't have anything to do with what we were doing in the conversation, but I engaged with him, and I think that that made a big difference. And he's been one of the people that stuck with me and moved with me to Twitch and is a paying subscriber.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very insightful. Very insightful. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up. I don't really have any other topics unless you have something you want to go into.
I think if I have any like advice, like last bits of wisdom for people who are listening or watching this show and are considering becoming Twitch streamers, one of the things that you brought up at the beginning of the show was whether or not it was worth streaming on Twitch and trying to join the affiliate program. And I would say to anybody who is really interested in at least entertaining and engaging people, building communities, and just taking part in it, I would say go for it. Because, you know, becoming a Twitch affiliate, I've seen people who have struggled to do it for over a year. I was blessed and really lucky to do it in a very short period of time compared to most people. I would say go for it. If you feel that need to entertain, if you feel that need to connect, it's absolutely worth it. And the people will they will connect with you, and there will be rewards as time goes on. You can't be hungry and chase numbers. It's got to be about connecting with each person one at a time, and then it's just going to snowball into its own thing, and you'll be surprised. I think honestly you'll be surprised. Anybody who has that in them, how a community evolves into a thing all on its own without you ever realizing that it happens.
I guess I do have one other question for you, or
yeah, sure.
Wanted to shoot your thoughts at it. So, something that I've been kind of thinking about, where, I mean, I guess it's kind of the situation that I'm in. I'm essentially building this community from the ground up, and I've kind of relied on a lot of my like friends on Facebook and family and stuff like that to kind of start my growth, essentially. Yeah. But for someone that is in a similar boat who doesn't have the community, would you advise them to only stream on Twitch, or should they use a program kind of like Restream.io where they could restream to multiple different platforms? Or do you think, you know, they should choose a different platform just due to the fact that, you know, there's so many people streaming on Twitch? I think there's like 3 million people that stream on that platform. What can you do to diversify yourself starting out, you think? I know I kind of rambled there, but
don't try to be everything for everybody. That's the most important thing. Try discover who you are. If you're just picking up, if you're just building up from the ground up, it's a process to learn who you are. When I first started Tea Time with Invincible, I was not a great streamer. I would sit there and I'd start the show and I'd just stare at the camera and be like, well, we're gonna wait for people to come in and anybody here? Okay, no. But like eventually you sort of like you start feeling more comfortable. You start growing your style. And then from there, even if you don't have other people who can be there to help support you, if you find that one person, connect with that person, and that person maybe will bring another person in, and that person will bring another person in, and you connect with these people, and you help. When you build that connection with people, there are those out there who will just become your brand ambassadors. And one of I have a group of people that I refer to as the Heralds of Invincible. One of them has been with me since 2.5 minutes into my streaming career. His name's Jared Allen. He's a guy from Boston. This guy, literally, I pinpointed him 2.5 minutes into my very first stream when I was going back reviewing my old shows for the first anniversary of Tea Time. And this guy was there every episode, and I just would talk to him and connect with them, and it's just building those relationships. And he's been with me ever since. One of my best friends at this point. We talk all the time, and that's what it's got to be. You got to find your Jared. You got to find that person who's going to be your first brand ambassador and go from there.
Cool. What kind of equipment would you recommend for someone starting out, or I mean, even like what you have now as far as
sure.
streaming equipment? Like, when did you justify yourself to upgrade, essentially?
About 6 months in, actually, was when I first started upgrading my equipment.
Okay.
For me, depending on what you're doing, if you're streaming a game, then you can kind of put off the video stuff, the video quality, because people will watch you without a camera. Plenty of people have streams that are successful without a camera, but audio is critical. So right now I'm broadcasting using a Yeti mic, Blue Yeti. It's a little over $100, so it's a monetary commitment for sure. But audio quality is fantastic. My wife got me this little pop screen for Christmas. I also have this headset that I was using for a while too. It's got some noise cancellation in it. You can go either route. I think that for people who are into like competitive games, there is a certain aesthetic appeal to wearing a headset. Whereas, when you're just doing a talk show, you don't necessarily need headphones, but having that microphone is good. If you're like a talk show person, of course, they're going to want to see your face. They're going to want to get into your expressions. So investing in a camera is good. I have a Logitech C920. It's a little bit of an older model now, but a few years ago it was the top model. Again, another expensive piece of equipment. You can start out low and work your way up. It's just about, I would say prioritize audio over video and go from there. I actually, depending on how loyal your fan base is, people might want to help you out. They might be willing to kick in a little money through donations or anything like that. I know at one point when I was streaming, I didn't even have a laptop. I was streaming off of a Chromebook, actually. I got it right here. I was streaming off of a Samsung Chromebook, a couple $100.
Oh, beautiful.
Little bitty internet connection. Go from there. Actually,
yeah.
Funny story about this Chromebook, I'll tell you, is that I had one that I had purchased, and about 6 months, 7 months into streaming, my daughter had poured water all over it and it was ruined.
Oof.
And so my show went on hiatus for a little over a month. And all of a sudden, we started having these PMs flooding the inbox of the page that I was broadcasting from at the time, going, where is Tea Time? Where is Tea Time? And I didn't think, I thought people enjoyed the show, but I didn't think it meant anything to anybody.
Right.
And when people found out that the reason that I hadn't been streaming was because my Chromebook had gone out, people started flooding that inbox saying, what can I do? And it was amazing. That was one of the most amazing moments. So once this is the story about why I became a streamer on the regular and not just for funsies. This Chromebook, couple $100, was purchased through donations from my fan base. When they found out I created and they were demanding that the show come back, I said, all right, guys, this is beyond my ability to do right now. So I put up a GoFundMe, and in 48 hours, it was fully funded through donations from my fan base to purchase the Chromebook. I said, I'll pay the taxes, but I don't have the cash on hand for it. And they came out. They came out for me. They came to bat, and that was when I realized that the show meant something to people. It wasn't just a place. It wasn't just a show that people watched to be entertained for a little bit. It was a place. There was like a place that existed, a special time, a special place for people that they felt they needed something. There was something about that time period that they needed, and they were willing to support me in it.
Invincible's Fight Club.
Right?
I was gonna say something, but I forgot. It's funny how that
But yeah,
works,
equipment is important. Upgrade as you go. But like I said, I started the show on a Wii camera with a basic microphone and just a Chromebook, and it's grown into something much bigger since then. You know, obviously as a gamer, if you're going to stream gaming, you need a gaming PC. You need something that can handle running OBS and all that other jazz, and you're going to have to invest your time in learning how to set up scenes and do all of that. It's YouTube tutorials. You have to spend maybe a week learning how to set up what you want and upgrade your equipment as you go. But nothing replaces the effort you put into investing in your community, because that's where the real payoff is always going to be. You can have the best microphone and camera in the world. If your community's shit and they don't care about you, you're going to be broadcasting to 0 people.
It's good advice, man. Full of it. Full of that good advice. So I think that pretty much wraps up the show for today. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, huh?
All right, great. Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I'd love to come back sometime when you've done, your 100th episode. Bring me back.
Yeah.
We'll see how we're both doing then.
I'll be the next Joe Rogan.
Hell yeah!
Bring
there
you
go. That's what
episodes.
I like to hear. Smoking a blunt with Elon Musk.
Hell yeah! Did you see that most recent one of him?
No, I haven't. I'm sure he's in all sorts of trouble.
He just came back on for the show, and he was talking about his Neuralink. Have you ever seen Neuralink? Oh, dude. Neuralink is some crazy stuff, dude. You need to look into that on your free time, but basically it's like his third most important project to him is how he explained it. But he's got SpaceX and Tesla and
right.
Boring Company, and anyways, so essentially what Neuralink is going to do is it's going to be a chip that they put into your brain, and I don't know all the logistics of it yet, but essentially they're going to hook up wires to your neural network, and it'll allow you to do different things. Essentially, they're trying to make it to where, paralyzed people can move again, and people with Parkinson's can control their tremors, stuff like that. That
would be a development on an existing technology specifically. I know about the Parkinson's stutters, but yeah, that sounds interesting. I'd also be terrified if they were going to try to utilize that to stimulate my visual cortex to induce in this state of augmented reality and right. That aliens are invading or some crazy shit. I know I heard some crazy person talking about a conspiracy with 5G augmented reality to make us think that fucking dragons were attacking or something.
Hell yeah. Sounds like
that's what I want.
That's what I want.
Look, the dragon apocalypse is the apocalypse we all deserve.
I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones in real life. That's
right.
pretty much what I'm hoping for. Um, yeah, but yeah, that shit's crazy. It's kind of scary though. The other
Yeah,
side of it, like what you were
all of
talking
it's
about.
crazy. Who do you
Yeah,
trust? Who do you let into your brain?
Elon Musk. I don't know. Might have to. Did you see what he named his kid? It's some
Um,
crazy ass shit, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. On a scale of 1 to 10, what celebrities and rich people name their children is like a -70 to me.
He he basically said on the Joe Rogan podcast. I only watched like 30 minutes of it, but he
Mhm.
explained the name as like kind of like a placeholder at the time. That's not going to
Okay,
be his permanent name, but
this is baby name.
essentially it's like A space AE space X-12. And
It's a code name. His
yeah,
baby's
I
name
don't.
is written in code.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really sure what the meaning behind it is, but
You know what, man?
you know,
Whatever he wants. Elon Musk wanted to drill a tunnel underground so that he didn't have to share the road with poor people. So,
I mean that's what I would do, right? I mean, sounds like a
I
good idea.
suppose if I had billions of dollars, look, just because you let go, just because he released all the Tesla patents doesn't give him a free pass. Like Elon, your ancestors owned emerald mines that were worked on by like slaves or whatever. You don't get a free pass. You're gonna have to do way more than release the Tesla patents to avoid sand guillotine. Just saying.
mm, those are uh, those are fighting words.
I don't know what you use your $1,200 check for, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll get into that
I'm kidding.
on our 100th episode recap.
What did you use your check?
We'll
What
be
did you
like,
use your check for?
where were you 5/9/2020?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Anyways, so that pretty much wraps up the show. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm glad I got to be guest numero uno.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't have had anybody else come on.
Ah, you're too kind.
Anyways, till next time, guys. Peace.